Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Disqualified. I am your NXT Predictions Champion, Trevin, joined as always by our main roster predictions champion, Caleb.
Hola!
And Zach, as always, is behind the camera, our lovely cameraman and producer.
Hello.
It is so damn hot where we are currently.
Yes. The Midwest be experiencing a heat wave at time of recording.
After I dropped Caleb off, my car said it was 98.
Yeah. Fun times.
Yes,
fun
the
times.
atmosphere where we live is hot. This episode of Raw was not.
Yeah, well, it was hot in one way. Hot garbage. The matches were good.
Except one, which didn't happen, but we'll get to that later.
We see a return
Yeah.
of a legend, a Hall of Famer, but not excited about where they are being placed.
No.
And
Another return got us a lot more excited.
but yeah, so let's just get into this dumpster fire of an episode of Monday
So,
Night Raw.
We open with how we used to open a lot of shows last year with representatives from the Judgment Day opening this show. The representatives being Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. The power couple, both holding gold.
Yep, and Dom getting booed. Basically, he couldn't speak. He just kept getting booed the whole time. It was beautiful.
Yep.
And then Liv goes on to say that she is done asking for respect.
She gonna take it.
She's demanding it, and she's
Yep.
going to take it. And she demands.
The rematch she never got. She demands another shot at the Women's World Championship.
And Io Sky comes out. And Io's like, if you want the title, take it.
And she,
Throws the title or gives it to Liv.
Yep. Nice little toss. Standing drop kick that I'm like, daggum.
Yep.
And then she delivers a beautiful roundhouse to the back of the head on Liv to get her to the ropes. Dom checking on his girl. Gets roundhoused himself. And I'm like, both Dom catching strays and Io just being like, nah, you get one too.
Yeah. And, good little opening.
Yeah. Gets us excited for some potential rivalries. Speaking of potential rivalries, especially with possibly Io, we move on.
Yeah, so it is our first of two Fatal 4-Ways tonight for King and Queen of the Ring qualifiers.
Wrapping up them Fatal 4-Ways this week.
Yep, so, oh, God. Jeez, sorry, that threw me off.
Voice did a little funky there.
Yeah, so we have Stephanie Vaquer, Ivy Nile,
Raquel Rodriguez.
and the return of one of the GOATs.
The Empress of Tomorrow.
Asuka returns with her old entrance music.
And beautiful face makeup going all the way down her chest, too.
Oh my God.
Some of the makeup was even along her back, too.
Yeah, she filled such a much needed shape that was like, bro, her being gone for 13 months was noticed.
Yes.
So she's back. She does have the knee brace on because she had knee surgery.
Yep.
But that does not deter her at all. This match, all gas, no brakes from the jump.
Yep. She even got a couple little gremlin spots.
There was a spot that made me die laughing. Stephanie just cleared out the ring, and Asuka comes like this behind her, like a cartoon villain, goes, ha! And then kick. I'm I missed Asuka so much.
Yeah. Some people are saying that this might be a face run, especially because there was no use of mist in this match.
I think it's going to be face, but also, I mean, when most people return their face,
Yeah.
you always give them, I mean, okay, with Becky, face for 1 day
Yeah.
or 2 days pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
You give them the return face reactions. If you need them to fill a heel spot, they will fill a heel
I
spot
don't
later.
think Becky needed to fill the heel spot, but
No.
it
Yeah.
got bad.
But, you know, this match was pretty stacked. There were some people arguing like Raquel has decent reason to move on. People were saying Stephanie was also a favorite, but we ain't gonna leave it anymore.
Raquel had decent reason to move on?
The internet says what the internet says.
The internet, people on there also say the earth is flat. Do you want to give them validity?
Nah.
Okay, so we don't give everything everyone says on the internet validity. She is already a tag team champion. She does not need to be moving on in a singles competition. I'm sorry. If you want to say Ivy actually has a case for moving on, sure, you could say that underdog story. She loses the majority of her matches, but now she's won this. Let's see how far she can continue the momentum in the tournament.
But Asuka wins it. It is her return match.
Yeah, Asuka just fucking cleans shop.
Yeah.
Man, Asuka, she does debut a new finisher, which is like Naomi's rear view, but the opponent is kneeling instead of standing.
Yep.
And it's called the Empress Impact. That's what it's called.
Another thing too is that they tease that Stephanie and Asuka will have a 1v1 in the future.
They teased Stephanie Asuka like 7 times.
Yeah, they're like, we know you want this 1v1. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. And now, a thing that's happening that is a bad thing. Very, very bad thing.
The rumors are true, but first let's get into what rumors we're talking about. Gunther walks in.
The Ring General.
Yep, he's like, you know, Jay at WrestleMania was the better man for one night. Every other night, I am the better man. And there is no one who will be better than me. Doom.
Trevin was like, there's no way. There's no way. And I said, you're going to hear dun, na, na, na.
And it happened.
Goldberg.
Gunther even was like, whatever rumors you're hearing on the internet are false. No one dare step up to me. And then Goldberg's music hit.
If you release these people for their ages, and then you bring in
Goldberg.
Yeah, I guess we're at Saturday night's main event. It will be Gunther and Goldberg
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep, and I think they're genuinely going to swerve us. I think everyone's thinking Gunther's retaining. I think Goldberg is beating Gunther.
I genuinely think so too. I think
Goldberg beats Gunther in a very quick squash, like he did to Brock when he returned.
Yep.
And then we get burn it down, stomp 1, 2, 3.
I'm debating on the cash-in, honestly.
No. Goldberg is not continuing forward as champion. He's not.
No,
I don't think they'd make that mistake again. I think if they make the mistake again of even giving him the championship, I don't think they're giving him a prolonged run. Because the last time it was at the expense of The Fiend.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think anyone wants to see that happen again.
No. But no, I think Gunther does get squashed and we finally
superheroes.
And we finally get that get humbled arc. Cause holy does Gunther need it.
You lost to Sammy. You lost to Jay. You lost to Goldberg. What a weird fucking trio if it happens. I mean, Ely and NXT UK, but they don't count that as canon, so we don't.
No,
count
they
that.
do. Ilias brought it up in last year's King of the Ring tournament.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4.
Yep.
A weird group. I feel like the only person that should be beating him in that group is Elia.
Yeah. But no.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
And we got the
why?
we got this title scene having a match. Time for what I'm going to refer to as title holders getting their opponent's montage, which the montage is led with another match of the night. AJ Styles versus JD McDonough.
Before we cut to the match, we cut to the Judgment Day locker room. And so, this takes place before Liv's match with Kyrie. This takes place right before JD's match
Yep.
with AJ.
And after the Queen of the Ring qualifier that
Yep, so Raquel is sitting on the couch licking her wounds.
Yep, ice pack and all. Lit.
They have a new TV and PS5.
Woo!
I don't know who got it because Carlito took his stuff.
Yep, he took his stuff in the divorce.
Yeah. Also, this episode coming to you from the Midwest.
Yeah.
But this was also the most sauceless Judgment Day locker room I've seen.
Yeah, no, there were no decorations at all. I'm like, you could have added a little more. Like the centerpiece decoration was Liv's graffiti bat.
That and the Hot Ones versus trophy.
Yes. It's like those were the two most noticeable prop pieces.
Like, bro, everything just changed the moment they got rid of Carlito. He brought the cool factor.
Yes. But Liv walks into the clubhouse being like, come on, Raquel, we gotta talk strategy. How you gonna help me win? And Raquel's like, mate, I'm sorry, F. Like, I'm not cleared for any more action tonight.
Also, if you notice the blocking, someone is standing next to a certain someone. And that is Roxanne standing next to Dom.
Yep. And she's like, okay, cool. No, it's fine. I can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to leave, and Finn turns to Dom, being like, hey, wait, no, it was JD being like, hey, Dom, I mean, I appreciate how you're taking initiative on making sure all our business is handled, but what's this match I got against AJ tonight? Like, me and Finn were going to try for some tag team gold tonight, hopefully, and Dom's like, listen, Finn couldn't finish the job a couple weeks ago. You get to do what Finn couldn't and get him out of the way, and that's a very good. And hey, defeating AJ Styles is also a very nice thing to add to the resume. That's for sure
And he's
to
like-
get you a tag
He's like,
spot.
this is just a this week thing.
Yeah.
Next week, go back and be in the tag team division. And Finn goes, and don't worry, I'll be out there. I'll have your back. And Dom goes, nah. You couldn't get the job done. And, since the Judgment Day has no leaders, anyone can call the shots.
Yep. He's like,
Dom says, you stay in the back.
yep, guard the fort.
And Finn looks pissed.
Yep, and he's like, fair enough, fair point. But someone's got to be out there with JD. I think it should be you.
Yep. So Dom supports JD in his match. And before we leave the segment, Finn and Roxanne go talk to Nick Aldis about something.
Mm-hmm.
And Raquel looks very conflicted.
Yep.
And now we cut to AJ Styles versus JD McDonough. And, Corey Graves, who is filling in for Pat McAfee on commentary, says it is not JD McDonough's fault that he was born with the head of a Minecraft character.
Yep. And that Minecraft head was a nice target of plentiful of moves, including...
That spot, literally what they just referenced, I think he hit a headbutt to the groin.
Yup.
So,
Yeah, but Yeah.
Use of the head.
Yeah, but that head met the mat when he was hit with a flash clash for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Fairly decent back and forth, but it was more Styles than JD.
Yep. Styles is celebrating, and that gives Dom the opening to try to go for a title smack. AJ weaves it, hits Dom with something, but then it looks like he's gonna
Pele kick.
Yeah, Pele kick, goes to the apron for the phenomenal forearm. Dom gets pulled out by Finn, who's like, "You told me to guard the fort."
Yep.
I'm guarding the fort.
And
Dom's title falls off of his clutches, and AJ grabs it and dibs. He's like, "You want this? You want this back?"
he grabs it. They circle the ring like the Shield used to do. And as soon as they rush in, he slides right past them
Yup.
and leaves, stealing the title.
Yep. He's like, "You want to come and get it? Come and get it."
Yep.
And Dom's like, But
We cut to all this. And, we
yes.
cut to all this after this next segment. So,
Yes.
we see a freshly returned Bailey.
Yup.
She comes out and she says, basically, she skips all the, like, well, she doesn't skip it. She's like, cheer for me.
Yeah.
Because they were like, they started the cheer for Bailey.
Yeah, and she's like, "You're a little off tempo. We can get that later, maybe."
And then it just went silent for a second. And then the chant hit. And then she continued.
Yeah.
But she basically just skipped to the point. She wants to fight Becky.
Yep.
Becky took her out. She wants to go for the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
Well, she's just like She initially was just like, "I want my hands on Becky." Becky agrees, but the IC title came into the picture when Bailey made the comment of like, "Do you know what it had? Do you remember what it's like to feel like having to fight for your spot on the card?" And Becky was like, "No, not really. Do you remember what gold feels like around your waist?"
Yeah, so,
Cooked
her.
Yes. So
Open at 325.
So they back and forth a little bit. Becky actually goes for a open hand smack. Bailey weaves a little bit and
Just straight. I think it was like legit, like just a forearm.
yeah.
Just straight forearm to the collarbone, knocking Becky down, and Becky just.
Yeah, she's just like, "Oh, I have pissed someone off."
Also, she's repping the Bears because they were in Green Bay.
Yep, have to draw in that heel heat.
Fuck you, Green Bay. Sorry if you're from Green Bay, but fuck you, Green Bay.
Yeah. And now we get to the Aldis spot where AJ turns over the IC title, being the good guy he is, not wanting to steal it, and Aldis filling in for Pierce today is like, "Thank you for returning this. I'll make sure it gets back to Dom." But
I like your gumption.
yep, you have a chance to earn this and go home with it permanently. As at Night of Champions, it will be AJ Styles versus the IC champ, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, for the title.
And as soon as he walks away, in comes Bailey.
Yep, and all this is like, look, Becky already came to see me. It's official for next week. But, unlike what she said on the mic, I decided she took away a shot at a title for you. So I think it is within her right to give you a title shot in return. So next week, despite Becky's wishes, is for the IC title.
Oh wait, Orton. Get yourself disqualified. I see it happening.
But Bailey thinks all this, goes to walk, and we hear from off camera, "Hey, Bailey!" And Lyra's just like,
Bailey looks so uncomfortable.
she's like, "Oh, right."
And Lyra, just so coincidentally happened to be looking pretty emo that day.
Yeah, she's just like, hey, no, hey, I'm returning. No, sorry, I'm doing good. Just you come back, attack my main op, and now get yourself a title shot. What's up?
Yeah, and then Lyra just says, you know what? I'm going to look out for me. And leaves. And now we get the rematch from 2 weeks ago.
Yes, about.
Liv Morgan and Kairi Sane. So, the match starts off with the drop toe hold. The match ends. Liv Morgan dislocated her shoulder last night. No updates to how severe it is.
Yes,
but
we Googled it.
Best case scenario, 16 months.
Sorry, best... No.
Or 16 weeks.
Yes.
16 weeks, not
That-
months. Sorry.
Yes, no, that is middle scenario. That is average scenario. Best case scenario is there's no torn ligaments or muscles. It's just to pop the bone back in the socket, be in a sling for 4 to 6 weeks. If there are tears, they will need 14 to 16 weeks of recovery time plus the 4 to 6 weeks in the sling. If it is surgically repaired, if it is a need of surgical repair tear, you are looking at about 6 months recovery time.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate. A really, really big blow to Raw. She was the driving force of 2 major feuds. One where she was a face, one where she was a heel, and then she was going to be in a third story with Io.
Yes.
Where she would have been in 3 separate storylines, and I don't think I've ever seen that done before.
No,
And that is just a fucking insane workload for one.
They put a lot of faith in Liv Morgan. I mean, she is your inaugural Crown Jewel champion. She was, Women's World Champion, all for last year. The internet loves Liv, and the company puts a lot of faith in her to put her in all these spots and storylines.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it looks like she will be missing out on Evolution and SummerSlam, which is in her home state, which has to suck. I think...
Prayers out to her, though. Best case scenario, it's just to pop the bone back in socket, 4 to 6.
You'll be back in time for Evolution, I believe.
Yes. Well, she would be in... They might keep her off Evolution because of the sling work, because that's a 4 to 6 week recovery time, and PT. She would make it back in time for a SummerSlam spot, but...
You can hide her in a tag match.
Yeah. But...
Or have the real heat happen and have Raxa and villain.
Yeah. Some people are saying that, but according to some internet deep diving, it's looking like the 14 to 16 week scenario.
There is a immediate vacuum re-put into the women's division.
Yes.
Right when it was starting to be like, everyone's back except for Kiana and Zoe. And Liv is now injured, so...
We get Asuka back, but we lose Liv.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's always one for another.
Those tag titles are cursed.
Seriously.
I think that also does scrap the Evolution tag match for Bella's v Judgment Day, which they definitely had planned.
Yeah, what we were debating on is if this is a need to vacate title injury, tournament style, possibly a rep for each brand in a triple threat or fatal 4-way inserting the Bellas.
Here's how I would do it. Here's how I'm thinking. There's 3 ways. You have just a qualifying match on each show. That team advances, also faces the Bellas. Quick fatal 4-way. You could do a tournament on all 3 shows with just the same goal of all 3 get added. They face the Bellas. Or you could do teams from all 3 brands come together, triple threat match at the end. Whoever wins that goes on to face the Bellas. Regular tag match, for the women's tag championships.
At Evolution.
Because it very much seems like they want to give the Bella Twins a tag title run, which I don't blame them because the tag titles weren't around when they were in the company.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you'd want to give one of the best known women's tag teams
Yes.
in WWE the tag title run. Completely makes sense. And I also don't think it'll be long.
No.
But someone's going to have to fill Liv's spot for the EO match, and I think it is Rhea. As much as the internet's going to dislike that, and as much as I kind of dislike that, because I was liking what she was doing outside of, title stuff, because she was actually being booked like a regular superstar.
I think
Or do you think it goes Asuka?
Asuka might slot in, but sleeper pick. I feel like they just strap the rocket to Stephanie with this opportunity.
It could. La Primera.
They could. Mainly because the IC championship is filled up with two big stars.
I think you take this lull in the scene to strap the rocket to Stephanie.
But also, well, I guess we did just answer the question of what happens to the tag champs. But that sucks. The one other thing people were pointing out today is when Rhea injured her shoulder, Liv got with Dom. Now that Liv injured her shoulder, Dom might get with Roxanne.
You lose them how you got them.
Yep. So people are speculating that Raquel was going to turn on Liv, and they think that these two, Roxanne and Raquel, are going to be a team. And someone was saying that when Liv comes back, she'll more than likely team with Rhea and go after them. You're going to have to do a lot of, that's a long-term thing of getting that forgiveness.
That
from
is
two enemies.
That is long time storytelling.
I think it would be good.
Yeah.
I liked Liv and Rhea as a tag team. They worked really well as a tag team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And now
a little accelerated on the card, but
we move from disappointing news to a disappointing result of a match that we all saw coming from a mile away, but no one decided to jump in front of it and say stop. No one.
Your main event of the evening.
Your King of the Ring, round 1, Fatal 4-Way.
Qualifier.
This isn't, I say qualifiers, but they're not qualifiers. These are actual matches, I believe, that are in the tournament.
Yeah.
But it is Bronson Reed.
Big.
Not Sami Zayn. That was last week.
Sheamus.
Rusev, and main event Jey Uso.
Yeet.
Why is he everywhere?
So we mentioned it when the card got revealed. It was clear Gunther was supposed to be slotted in, but then Goldberg got finalized that he is able to return. So they're
Triple H was like, I want to put a title on that match. So he put a title on that match, which left the gaping hole of Gunther in this match, which he was going to move on to the tournament very much, it seems.
Yes.
And it got replaced with Jey Uso.
Yep, the loser of the match that would have made Gunther the participant.
Is the loser of a world title match immediately getting put in to a tournament that gives them world title contention? They should be back of the fucking line. You have so many other people you could have slotted in here. Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, they weren't doing shit. You could have had Karrion, Ilya if he was back, Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne.
Yeah, we do see Karrion on screen, basically in a promo segment with Sammy being once Sammy is eliminated from the King of the Ring tournament, his very next match will be against Karrion Kross.
Finn! Finn could have been in the tournament.
We would have even taken JD in the tournament.
But it's a spoiler. I've already said it's disappointing because of who won, and that is Trevin's favorite superstar, Jey Uso. Yeet Man moves on.
Yep.
Yippee! I'm in pain.
But now we hear burn it down. And Seth comes in to attack. He's pissed because during the match, his co-lackey, Braun Breaker, was trying to help Bronson Reed, met with Sami Zayn, who
Got yeeted,
yep.
funnily enough.
And then, out of freaking nowhere, we get
A man yeeting himself.
Penta.
Runs in, jumps out of the ring.
Because we're like, where's LA Knight? And then all of a sudden, why the frick's Penta here?
Here.
Yeah.
The crowd's going crazy, and we're like, okay, here comes LA. Whee! Flying Mexican!
Yep. Penta stops the spot. But Bronson Reed still got some gas, but he is met with the BFT from LA Knight. And then Jay does his classic finisher, spear into Uso splash, into another Uso splash for the 1, 2, 3. He moves on. That's when we get Seth.
Stomping his face into the fucking ground.
He doesn't get the chance to, however. He doesn't hit the...
Because Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes.
And he comes out, walks right in between Seth and Jay, and...
That's how the show ends.
Yep. Just Seth and Cody stare down, Seth leaves, and then Cody and Jay shake hands as on SmackDown... Wait, no. Raw next week. This is your semifinals match showcasing.
You brought this up last night, and is the most disgusting War Games team I have ever heard of.
Yep. It is technically 5 stars that stood up against Seth in this match. Cody, Sammy, Jay, Penta, and LA Knight. This is more of a hodgepodge babyface team than the War Games team 2 years ago.
You know, if this is the War Games team, and feel free, if I am wrong here, to say I'm wrong. Penta is the polar bear in Arlington, Texas in this team.
Yeah. You're right. Like, the only one he has a feud with on Seth's faction is a long-expired feud with Braun Breaker.
That was for the IC Championship, and he doesn't even have the title anymore. So, like, I guess.
But yeah, that's the show.
Yeah, that's the show. Bad. Capital BAD, bad.
Yeah, the 3 show banner of weeklies was a fluke last week.
Yeah, no, I knew they couldn't keep that up. What? Like, it was unrealistic. And I even told Gordon, I think it was Sunday night when I was going home. I was like, I don't want to watch Raw tomorrow. And he was like, why? And I was like, I know it's going to be bad. They had 3 good shows last week. They're bound to have a bad one. And it was that.
Usually it's SmackDown that's the black sheep.
Yeah, we record Monday's review on Tuesday.
So hopefully, at time of recording tonight's episode of NXT still cooks because it's NXT.
Yep. Hopefully it cooks. We get 4 women's Fatal 4-Ways. Or not Fatal 4-Ways.
Qualifiers for the Fatal 4-Way.
For the Fatal 4-Way. I think my brain melted at work today. It was so hot in that building.
Yeah, but that is all for this episode of Disqualified. Mitch,
This has been it from us here at Disqualified. I am your main roster predictions champion. Remember, the first two-time main roster predictions champion. You care enough to comment. That is your NXT predictions champion, Trevin, and that is Beltless Zach behind the camera, our producer. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell 3 times so you know the match is over. And we will see you next time. Check out our other channel. Thank you for your time. Peace.
bye!